All right, so we're gonna call the meeting to order here at 9 a.m. First up, to approve and sign the minutes. We're gonna table those until the 22nd. We have some additional edits to make on those from the October 18th meeting. So next up, we have, yeah, I don't see his name, so. Jay from Auctioneering Services.
Yes.
Welcome.
Hi, Jay St. Jean and my brother Jim St. Jean from St. Jean Auctioneers. I think just a little bit of information for I'd like to get us out. Are we missing one?
Yeah, we are.
Okay.
Great.
Very yes. What's contained in there is basically our proposal that I think we had sent to Scott a couple of weeks ago. Along with recent sales of tax deeded and town-owned properties throughout the state by county. On the right side, on the left side are just a couple of recent sales. One that we just completed in Danbury, which was a tax deeded property sale. And then the Carroll Fire Station, which is kind of similar to what you're offering, that we did last year for the town of Carroll. That property brought $230,000 at auction. But that again, different building, bigger building, different location. What we'd like to do is just, basically go over the auction process, our marketing and whatnot, and then answer any questions anyone from the board may have relative to the process. Typically, we need probably 4 to 5 weeks notice to conduct a sale. We like to conduct the town-owned properties, tax deeded properties on a Saturday morning so that everyone in the town has an opportunity to go should they choose to attend. Our marketing consists of the auction method of marketing, which it would be display ads in local publications. Typically, the Courier would use up here, Caledonian Record, but also get in the only statewide paper, which is the New Hampshire Sunday News. Run a series of ads in those papers. Get it into a one-page e-blast. It goes out to our e-blast list, which is an organic list that has been compiled over the last 25 or 30 years. We would hit that up with a one-page brochure, but also create a one-page brochure that we would drop off here in Town Hall so you could have some copies. Also mail to the abutters of each of the property. And then sign the property if the town allows us to place a sign on the property. We also do a social media blast, Facebook, Twitter, those types of things leading up to the auction, and we'll get it posted on our website for the 4 to 5 weeks leading up to the sale. That's pretty much it. Marketing wise, fee structure wise, our goal is not to charge the town anything. We'll sell the property subject to confirmation. You'd have to come up with a minimum bid, acceptable bid to the town. Should we get to that point, the successful bidder will sign a purchase and sale agreement with us right after the sale. Will be paid from the buyer. The buyer will pay us a 10% buyer's premium. We'll charge no fees and expenses to the town. If we do not meet that goal, the minimum established bid, we charge the town the advertising expenses, which runs about $2,500. And a $500 flat fee for our services. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. In the last, I'd say 4 to 5 years, there hasn't been a minimum bid that we haven't attained. I'm sure that, the goal of the town is probably to get this on the tax rolls and to, get the empty building, into someone's hands that's going to do something with the building. Value wise, and Jim will speak to that. He's seen the building, he's gone through it, he's got an idea of what he thinks it might bring at sale, but again, in this market, it's just so hard. I mean, everything is still selling. The market in the southern part of the state is still very strong. And I would think that up here, there's going to be a whole host of people who would have an interest in that building.
So I'm thinking the firehouse, 80,000, 100,000, maybe some more, somewhere in that ballpark. I think the sale should probably be done at Town Hall. Just because of parking in its location. You're gonna have a bunch of cars, and you don't want people crossing the road in the way. When I got through the building, there was a bunch of items still in there. Snow blowers, all kinds of items.
Junk.
I don't feel so. The sort of need.
You're being nice.
One person judge is another's treasurer.
There is some good stuff in there.
Oh, sure.
But it'd be nice if that were relocated.
Yeah.
Before the sale.
Yeah.
You like those terms, Scott, don't you? And the relocate. As Jay said, our time frame is 4 or 5 weeks. For a building like that, I just don't think you need to wait till spring to do it, quite frankly.
No,
I think you tee it up and get it done before interest rates are 10%.
Well, I think we should go ahead with it, but I guess the number, what is the number for the minimum bid? You know, I think. That, I know what your thoughts are.
I kind of had 100,000 in mind, but I could certainly 90
Is that reasonable, 90 or 100?
somewhere in
I think
between.
it's reasonable. Yeah, absolutely reasonable. Yeah. And that's between us in this room. That's not shared, at least at our part, with anybody.
Right.
And say we get to 87, you guys get to make the call, whether you let it go or not.
Okay, so we basically decide that when we sign the contract with you.
Or you can decide it the day of the auction, or subject to a subsequent meeting that the board's gonna have.
Yeah.
We have to do that.
Yeah, you guys are in complete control.
Okay.
I mean, from a bidder's perspective, they'd like to know that day. I mean, if there could be a quorum at the auction, and a lot of towns would just open it up to a meeting in the
I
auction.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
The auction's a
So I had
meeting.
the auction, we published the auction as a meeting.
Mhm.
So that way people are here. Okay, that makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
We've done it both ways. I mean, some towns will have an emergency meeting, a special meeting, the Monday after the auction or the Tuesday. Who did that? Hollis did that.
Hollis,
Hollis did their sale on a Saturday. Either way, I mean, from a bidder's, I'm just saying, from a bidder's point of view, they'd like to come here that day with their good faith deposit, sign a P&S and know that, they're moving forward.
I would say, yeah, the woman do it, that's the way to do it, not have another meeting after. I don't think we have to decide the minimum bid right now.
No,
No.
I don't, no,
Now, if we're gonna sign the contract, we do.
No, do we?
no,
No.
you're
Okay.
signing it subject confirmation, knowing that, if for some reason we don't get to that bid, you guys are gonna be on the hook for $3,000. Basically.
That's fair.
And our job, we're on your team. Our job is to get the word out
Max it
there
out.
and to get
Yeah.
people here and, let's stay here all day. If people want to stay here all day, that's fine. I ask you to take about 10 minutes and we'll be done.
How long do they typically go on? I'm just curious.
Usually, we do 4 to 5 properties on the average for towns tax deed stuff. Usually 45 minutes, we're out of there.
Yeah.
This will take,
I'm just curious. Yeah.
we'll be out by 10:30.
The P&S takes the longest time to sign that after the sale.
Sure.
I mean, from our end, what we need from you is, we would need a copy of the purchase and sale agreement or agreement and deposit receipt that usually town council would prepare. I've got a bunch of, I've got a couple copies in there of samples. I don't, who's the town council that you use? Mitchell Group? Mitchell Group?
Yeah.
Mitchell Group's got a bunch of those. I can even pull some from the Mitchell Group and send them to you. So obviously, if you don't have to involve them. I know it costs money every time you call them, so.
Right.
But just
Just look over it.
just look over some of the other towns and.
That cut and paste would work.
So can I
Works
make a
well.
motion that we'll sign the contract if it's approved by council?
Yeah.
Now, we just need to know what type of deed, the town will convey at closing, whether it's a quitclaim deed, a lot of times it's a deed without covenants for tax deed of properties, but I take it this is town owned, not tax deed, correct?
Right.
Okay, it's probably a quitclaim deed, but Mitchell Group would have to answer that
All right,
question.
so, all right,
The other thing we need would like a list of abutters.
Yep.
Prior to the sale, just so we can, mail
we'll get all
brochures to
that.
all those people.
You can actually pull a list
We
for a
can,
range off our website.
you have it on there?
Yep,
Okay, GIS, did
GIS.
you do? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll have Caitlin do that.
yeah, this deed should be fine. It's been a year and a half and
Okay.
trying to get
Cleaned
it
up.
straightened
Yeah.
out. There was a lot of issues, so we finally got there. So.
And then you guys can decide when you want us to do the sale.
I guess, you know, like,
after the holidays.
yeah, I think maybe we wanna wait till after the new
Yep.
year. I do.
Yeah, maybe the 21st, 28th of January, if that,
That makes
something like
sense.
that work, if that works into your schedule,
Yeah.
you know, we're fine. Anything that far out, we're good.
21st.
Let's tentatively look at the 20.
Okay.
Yeah. So the motion on the table is to sign this agreement with JS and J Auctions.
As long as it's approved by the town attorney. and so forth.
Right. Well, I think this is just the agreement that we're ready to move forward. The purchase and sales is what.
Yeah, we'll sign
we
that at
really
the
have
sale.
to-
Okay,
That's a document
That's
they'll
what
have
they
to
have to
create,
do.
or you can create here.
Yeah.
okay,
We'll send you some samples if the ones in there aren't sufficient, but
Okay.
we've got a bunch of them.
So I,
Redo your motion.
yes, sign the contract with JSJ Auctions.
okay, I'll second that. All those in favor?
Uh,
Very good. We look forward to working with you gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the opportunity, appreciate it. Well, released.
You're at least.
Hey, we can have you contract. Oh, she has to make a copy of it, okay.
Yeah, email's fine.
At JS Auctions.
JHSJ
Okay.
options, yes.
I will send that over.
Great, thank you very much.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Safe travels.
See you later.
Alright. Next up, we have some questioning regarding, tax liens.
I got a copy here too. but you can keep it.
Yep, give them that one.
You know, there's my property.
Yeah.
Jay
Okay.
or Jim, we have a sign.
We're just gonna sign two and give you one. There you go.
Yay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Great.
See you
Thank
guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Just a light note on auctions, Scott, you may remember it, but when the Mountain Club on the Moon was auctioned. They did that, and I mentioned this for skier weekends, they did it on a major skier weekend. So the Mountain Club, the bar, the dance area was just absolutely packed. The auctioneers were there and hit the gavel and nothing, nobody chimed in.
Really?
Nobody.
Hopefully that
So
doesn't
the
happen.
auctioneer stood up and he said, okay, let's forget the niceties. All you vultures that are sitting out there just waiting to pounce. How about one of you doing something?
You know, they're estimated 80 to 100,000. We had it for sale for 28 and had no buyers, fighters.
What?
I thought we advertised that for 28K.
No,
No,
It's never been
it's
advertised.
never been
no, the
advertised.
old fire, the,
The old
white.
firehouse, yeah.
No,
No. No. No, it's never been up for sale because we never had a clear title.
right,
It took almost 2 years to get a clear title.
the one was on this.
And there's no land with it though. It's just what the building sits on.
No, they own the land to the left and right is part of it now.
Is part of it now?
Yes,
How much land?
not a lot. No, it's very small. I mean, but the land to the left of the building is part of it, and to the right of the building is part of it, but it's still very small lot, very small.
Do you have any figures on exactly, you know, you say a little bit left, a little bit right, that doesn't tell me, I need.
You can look at the tax map.
Tax map. It's
You
on the
look at a
tax
tax
map.
It's on the tax map?
Yeah.
Okay,
And we'll certainly, once they get that flyer done, that'll get pushed out to all residents through our email server.
and has it been asbestos and lead paint?
That's on the people purchasing it. That's not up to us.
Yeah.
When you go to purchase a property, it's your responsibility, or you either waive the inspection or you pay to have an inspection done.
It's not a glamorous building. That's for sure.
No, no.
No, we haven't tried to sell it before though, seriously, and,
I don't know why that sticks in my gut, that a figure of 28K came up, and I think it was something I was reading from the town notes or minutes that I received.
I can't remember anything, but that doesn't mean, I know it's never been up for sale though.
Okay.
I'm not sure what you.
hopefully you get 100 for it, that would be great. I think.
Great, okay. Are you signed in, are you in? So we can't get one again?
What's your mom now?
Too many 5-minute bill requests.
You can look over there.
I'm a failure. I'm a failure again. That's-
Alright, so next up we have, public participation on tax deeding. Not public participation, sorry, taxpayer's question on tax deeding. So,
Thank you. I like it. I like your best.
thanks.
Reason I asked you, once again, about the leaning and deeding process. In the past 45 years, things have really changed with taxes, delinquent taxes, leaning and deeding. Back in the late 70s and early 80s, this was just normal information around the community. People have hard times, people have difficult times. But it was in the open. The tax collector would post annually in three locations, the post office, outside the town hall, and I cannot remember the third, every year, the list of delinquent taxes and the residents and taxpayers that were delinquent. They were also posted by name and amount in the annual reports. There was no stigma attached. There was no privacy because it was a way to operate. The town wasn't being funded to the extent it should be funded. That puts a burden on the other taxpayers. So investors would come in, they would pay the taxes to the town, and that was an investment. And if it went to the 2 years and 1 day, then the town would deed the property. There was no stigma attached. There were no fingers pointed. It was simply a manner of doing business. Everybody came out of it still able to meet each other around town. But it has changed, and it has taken me a while to get to the point where I believe I have everything here to speak to that point. There's so much secrecy now about this, and it's hard to find it. It's a challenge to find it in the annual report and as a percentage of the amount to be raised by taxes. So I've been asked to do certain things to speak here today, and I will go through those. The real estate tax lien. The real estate of every person or corporation may be subject to the tax lien procedure by the tax collector in case all of the taxes against the owner shall not be paid in full prior to the next December 1st. I sat with Melissa, and I saw Cheryl, and that is their responsibility. And another reason that I'm presenting this today, it's difficult to determine who makes the final decision as they relate to these RSAs. So after the taxes are delinquent, the notice of lien, the collector shall give notice of the impending lien at 30 days prior to the execution of the lien. Parcelet step out in my daily viewing of the Grafton County Registry of Deeds. That was in 2019. I checked with Melissa, I checked with Cheryl, and they were aware of this. Melissa confirmed that that was the way the town handled liens. The report of tax liens, the tax collector, again, the responsibility of the tax collector. Within 30 days after the execution of the tax lien to the municipality, county, or state shall deliver or forward to the Register of Deeds for the county in which the real estate is situated, a statement, all of which will be recorded and indexed in the Registry of Deeds. The parcel that came up, that was done. It should have been within 30 days after executing the lien. That was done on the 11th of November. And Cheryl and Melissa confirmed that. 2 years after, the tax collector, 2 years from the execution of the real estate tax lien, shall execute to the lien holder, that being the town, a deed for the land subject to the real estate tax lien, not redeemed. And I'm hoping you folks can clarify how that takes place. Melissa was open in saying that she does not execute a deed each year to you folks. I'm curious as how that procedure works.
She thinks, go ahead.
Are you asking if we take a property, who executes the deed? Because a
No, I'm
deed,
asking.
are you talking about a deed waiver?
No, I'm right from the RSA.
Well, the only time a deed is done is if any deed transpires, is if the town has taken a property, then we work with legal and we have a deed prepared. A deed waiver is signed if they choose not to take a property. So
Right.
I guess I need to understand what you're asking.
If you flip to about a year ago, this was on the front page of the Union Leader. The far right-hand column. I do not like it. Third paragraph down. I do not like it, Adams said about tax deed. Adams said she does her best to prevent tax deeding, but that does not stop her from fulfilling what she believes are her duties.
But
And I have looked, Judy, I'm trying.
I don't understand what you're asking, Bill, is the problem. Because I don't know what this has to do with what you just asked me or asked the board about. You're asking what you just asked what who processes or who of a tax deed. That's what you just asked. So I'm not sure if you're asking when we take, because the only time we process a deed is if the board does not sign a deed waiver and we're going to take the property. If that happens, then the board, the administrator, representing the board, works with the town attorney to have a deed created to transfer that property to the town by tax deed. But there's no deed involved if they're signing deed waivers. They sign a deed waiver form, and then we don't need a deed.
The deed waiver form is typically signed if payments are being made.
Or there's some type of arrangement, or there's that they have a reason why they're doing it,
Right.
which is perfectly legal.
I'm trying-
So I don't know. I guess I don't understand what you're asking.
I'm,
And I don't know how this relates to what you just
If
asked.
you're asking why a deed waiver was signed on this property that you're talking about, this question or this lien in question, it's because that property's outstanding balance on the actual taxes were being paid. The bill was not paid in full because the property had prepaid sewer fees that were in dispute. And those prepaid sewer fees were being looked at by the town's engineer. And then they needed extra time with Judy and the other agencies that run our sewer department to pull the data all together and figure out where there was a discrepancy. And once that issue was resolved by the town's engineer, he submitted a report to us. And then it was rectified. Any overpayments on those sewer fees were applied to the outstanding balance, and whatever was remaining was paid. And that's where you see when it was paid and redeemed on June 18th.
I'm trying to just understand the RSA.
Well, I
So
don't.
the
I'm not
tax
sure what interpret the
collector-
RSAs. I don't know how to do
That.
I mean, because RSAs are, everybody has a different interpretation.
But can you tell me where? Give me some homework as to where I can find the information on the waiver.
What do you mean? Like, about deed waivers?
Yes.
I'm sure if you Google deed waivers or tax related, you'll find something. I don't know, and I'm not trying to be, I just don't understand what you're asking. I mean, there's, Melissa sat with you, we've done this. I don't know, I've explained everything I can explain. I think I don't know what else to provide you. It's
And we've been
as simple
advised
as,
By the
right,
attorney that if someone is making payments and payments have been, and a payment agreement has been in place, that there's nothing illegal with signing a deed waiver. As long as both parties are keeping up on their end. Meaning the taxpayers is keeping up on their end as well.
I mean, they absolutely have the right. I can't think of the RSA off the top of my head, what gives them the right, but I can try to find that RSA, but I don't know, somewhere in here, you're gonna find it. I don't have time to do all kinds of research. I mean, if you've come and I don't understand, I guess.
You have.
I can get you the RSA, which I think I've provided to you several times back in April, that gives them the right to sign deed waivers and to enter into agreements and to make that call. I'm not sure where you're going. I don't know what you're looking for. I guess I don't understand.
Maybe because I have spent some time on this and I cannot find. It.
Well, I think
I'm
we've
asking
spent,
why the tax collector is relieved. Who is relieving the tax collector of her duties?
what do you mean by relieving her of her duties?
RSA 2080:76. The collector after 2 years shall execute to the lien holder a deed.
No, she shall if the board doesn't sign a deed waiver.
That's the link I'm missing.
I
I
don't
can't
know. I
find
mean,
the
we've
way.
had our lawyer give you her opinion on this several times, and I don't know what else to provide you, Bill. I really honestly don't.
I'm not,
We've spent,
my efforts are not to be a black fly, but I have not seen the word waiver.
I don't know, we have the right, every tax collector in the state of New Hampshire has that ability to do that. I can ask, I will absolutely ask I'll send something out to the association to see what they have. And I will provide you with the RSA again that allows them to sign a deed waiver. And that's the best I can do at this point.
Okay.
I mean, and we're working with a new tax collector. We cannot speak on behalf of a prior tax collector. I'm not gonna do that.
Really.
I'm not
We
asking
go through
about the,
several audits and I think that
I'm not asking about the tax collector. I'm trying to find out who relieves her of that. Is it the select board?
what do you
that
mean
relieves her?
relieves her of that? She brings, so she comes to a meeting with
Yeah.
her list
Yes,
and she, with all of her folders. And then they have to they have to review each parcel. And then the board makes the decision as to whether they are going to sign a deed waiver for her or they're going to deed the property. It's as simple as that.
so it is the select board that makes the
She has to
decision.
come before the select board, yes, and they are responsible for making the decision to either sign the deed waiver or deed the property. The tax collector doesn't make that decision. She needs to present to the board. If that's what you're asking.
Yes, and again, going back
If
to that she shall execute to the lien.
Well, executing to the lien holder, she's responsible for notifying the lien holders that this property could be potentially be deeded, because then they have the right to make that payment, and that happens a lot. She is responsible for notifying mortgage companies. That's what that means, and then I believe that's what that means.
That's all.
And then they have a certain date to make it, and then if, depending on what, every property is a different circumstance, but typically lien holders will step in and make that payment so that it doesn't go to deed.
I
So,
believe the town is the lien holder.
okay, so, well, then if that's the case, she's still responsible for, if that's what that means, then she's responsible for coming before the board.
We're one of many lien holders.
So
Say again?
We would be one of other lien holders as well, as Judy said, the mortgage or bank or.
and she records the list, so when she records a list of liens being placed, that then makes us a vested, we have, so if somebody was to transfer that property or try to buy that property, we trump even, I think, mortgage holders.
We do trump mortgage,
And I think the only thing we may not trump is an IRS lien.
correct.
So we would have to be taken care of during that sale of the property. So once we record that, she records that list. It's
We're covered, we're
it's
guaranteed,
covered.
right,
I mean,
whether
I
we deed
will,
it or not. So,
I can check again if you want, and spend more money.
Why don't you go to municipal
Yeah,
associations? with it?
email out to the municipal association and that
I don't think
would
we
be
should spend more on the lawyers.
we've gotten our answer from the attorney, so.
But may I see that? If you could I see that from the attorney so you don't have to spend more? I've gone.
Laura, I've emailed you everything we've had. Laura's weighed in on this. She sat in a meeting with you. In that meeting, and then we have those emails. I think I resent them to you back in April of, I don't even know if it was 2021. I don't remember what year, but we sent her that outline to you by email.
I will look, I do not recall sitting with Laura.
It was in a public meeting. You were asking these questions.
I asked a specific question
I think.
about the non-public sessions is what I inquired about.
Do you want us to spend money on contacting the lawyer?
No, we've already gotten Laura's answer, so.
It's just,
May
I
I
just think
share those with you?
I think we have, you can forward the email that says we're not required to. The deed email.
this one right here.
Yeah.
I mean, my latest email with her was August 3rd. I will note there is nothing illegal about not accepting a tax deed exactly 2 years after a lien, especially if, as it seems here, the town was working with the owner to repurchase the property or to
Rectify the situation.
rectify the situation. Please let me know if you have any additional.
I did not receive that.
That's the news.
So copy and paste that into an email and forward that email.
Thank you.
Just that portion, please.
So moving further, rather than going item to the last sentence in paragraph 2A. Such decisions shall not be made solely for the private benefit of the taxpayer.
It's up.
I'm sorry, I had a tickle in my throat.
And that's why I attached the tax collector in Manchester. the
Well,
article.
if someone's making a payment, they'll understand this. If people are making payments to pay off their tax bill, if they can't fork out 10 grand right off, but they can make payments of 500, they're making payments. Okay, so we're not solely benefiting them because they're benefiting the town still because they're paying on that payment. Okay, and they're paying the interest.
But in the interim,
Sure. Yeah.
interim, those taxes are uncollected. And therefore, the other that goes into the budgeting process for the next year. And the people in the
Every year we're
community are
scared of it.
picking that up.
You're not
Just-
gonna get, you're not, you have 2 years of worth of it, so it's not. Every year you're gonna have taxes that are not paid or they're being collected as we move on, okay? It's never gonna be exactly, we build out $1 billion in taxes and we've taken in $1 billion in taxes. It's always gonna work.
The town's always gonna get the money.
They're always gonna get the money. And longer.
But in
than
the
that,
interim,
so then, yeah,
the town will, but the town consists of all the other people. that are in the community.
Yep.
So when it comes to them, the tax deed was not issued in this case. And in
Because it was
other
the town's
cases, I
fault.
believe there were quite a few in that time frame. Some going back to 2014. When full redemption is made, the tax collector shall within 30 days after the redemption, notify the register of deeds of the act, giving the name of the person redeeming, the date on which the redemption was made, and the date of the execution of the tax lien, and a brief description of the real estate in question, together with the name of the person or persons against whom the tax was levied. So 2 years on this particular item and up to 6 years on some of the others that went that year. For this one, it would have been May 9th, but the property wasn't redeemed until the 18th of June.
Because there was a dispute on that property. There was abatements and that was a town-related problem, not the property owner's problem. It had nothing to do with the property owner at that point. And, you know, I just would say, Laura did say, if anybody has any questions, they're more than welcome to hire an attorney to to take us to court to question these,
okay,
and she'll represent us in that way.
Okay.
Is
sounds
what
good.
Laura told me.
And on the recording of that deed,
We can't
That-
speak to why she recorded it 3 months later.
Well, if I don't know the answer to this, but if I had to guess, her last day was May 31st, 2021.
That's
We switched tax collectors and it was probably a learning curve or sliding into that would be. Without digging deeper, that would be
Yeah.
my guess, because that's where it falls.
So that would have been 8 days after. She had 30 days and 22 of those would have been.
We can't speak I can't.
I'm not asking you to because she spoke to it,
Okay, then,
but I'm just questioning why it took so long for those monies to be recorded.
Because
Well-
she just said because of the transition from one tax
I think-
to the next.
I
Take
think,
the belief on that. I mean, we can show canceled checks that show when the check was written. When it was deposited, but that's not our goal. That's not what we're here to do. Okay,
So if I were to submit that right to know, that would be available.
we would run it by the attorney. Yep.
yeah, I have no idea, I don't think we can block out.
Yeah, we'd have to.
You can just put in, we can run it by her. I don't know. I'm not gonna speak to what I can't speak to what somebody else did.
Right.
Or why
Not
they
done.
did, but I would have to guess there was a transition going on there. Oh, wait, no, that was 2021.
Yes.
2022 was the transition.
Yes.
So I'm not sure.
Right.
But does,
And then we'll-
does the tax collector make their own deposits, or does that go through?
The tax collector makes her own deposits, yes.
Thank you for the time, and I just go back to how open this was in the past. And how
I think society
Comfortable
is-
and challenging it is now. But thank you for your time. And
Do you have budgets for them to follow along with?
Sure.
Okay. All right, so we're gonna move on to some budgets here. So we have, so you're gonna be speaking to most of them?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that we're between Scott and I were.
So the first one we have up is executive, and, so that would be your office, so staff payroll, selectmen's payroll, treasurers, and selectmen expenses.
I left it just,
Yeah, I see that you.
just because I wasn't sure.
Yep,
I added additional hours in case we needed Kathy, some more.
Yeah.
We can utilize her with some stuff,
Good.
but other than that, I left it the same.
Yep.
So,
I've done some research online, plus just doing some budgeting with other organizations that I've been with. And most of us are looking at 8% for this coming year of like the cost of living raise. Due to inflation and everything else, and the social security went up
No, I think,
8.something%.
I think that's a good number, especially where we only went up 3% 2 years ago, or 1.5% last year. Because we weren't sure where things are going, so I think 8% is
Fair.
a fair number.
so can,
So I'll make a motion to increase wages for all departments by 8%.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? So that would adjust the first line to 151,200. I did do it for you.
You're so
There you
awesome.
go. And then treasurer's payroll, we're obviously selectmen's payroll stay the same,
You're gonna
treasurer's
keep
payroll.
everything.
Yeah,
Both
we'll
stay
keep
the
us
same.
treasurer's payroll is 6,500
Mhm.
and selectmen expenses would stay the same. I did not. add up the whole-
That's okay, if you just, vote to
Accept the budget with the increases in the staff payroll and the treasurer's payroll. So I make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Uh,
just 1 second.
Yep.
Sorry,
That's okay.
want to make sure I get it.
These things scan in every which way.
I know, and I apologize that
Upside down,
Last-
in between.
we had a meeting yesterday and I was trying to get them in, I had to do them all together just to. Okay, so,
So the next one would be the town clerk. So town clerk and deputy, that proposed budget or payroll budget should go to 7906.
okay, you want me to go down through the other stuff that I have just to explain a little bit, or
Yeah,
are you okay?
that would be,
MAPs is money in, money out.
yep,
The office expenses are the normal, you know, the law books, the motor vehicle books, dogs licensing, all that.
right.
Office training mileage. Election payroll, I brought down a little bit, but I budgeted for 2 elections because if somebody, and I actually had a conversation with Aaron Hennessy about this, at elections.
Yeah.
Mm,
So if somebody does contest the first in the nation, which we know they're going to, I need to be prepared that if that does end up happening in December of 2023, or we start rolling to have it in early of, January of 2024, I have some stuff coming up, I would have to prepare to run a second election, and so I wanted to be
Just in case.
Yeah.
prepared versus not have enough.
goes back to the general one.
Yeah, we would return it to the general. They have not approved the new poll books or tabulators.
Okay.
My fear is that if, I'd like to keep that money there, and if they do it, I'd rather have it, be able to purchase it in 2023 and get familiar with it before moving to a 2024 presidential election.
Mhm.
So I left the money there just in case. We know, because we were a test site, that they are looking at the new tabulator, and the poll books are a great option, and they have some that are approved, but I'd like to see which tabulator they approve first to maybe use the same company.
Yep.
Was my thought process there.
That makes sense.
And we're still doing record preservation, so that was the only,
So that budget's down a little bit.
Yeah, but
Other
they
than-
back up a little bit with
Yeah.
the wage and
Yeah, so
so
it'll
it
be
should be
about
about
flat.
even.
Flat.
Yeah.
so you just motion with a
So-
wage increase and.
Yep.
Yep.
So I'll make a motion to accept the town clerk budget with the wage increase.
You
Got a
second?
Seconded,
All those in favor?
Okay.
Next.
Tax collector we left because we don't know what March is gonna bring. So we left it the same as we did the prior year with the, just with an increase in postage, because postage has been going up.
Right,
So we'll get a better feel when we know what happens in March.
okay. We should probably adjust those payroll numbers though, so, the top one would be 13,000
Mhm.
and the deputy would be, 4,275.
So
So
if you
I
guys
make a
are
motion.
okay with that.
Yep, motion to accept the tax collector budget, with the pay increase,
I'll second that.
all those in favor? Aye.
Okay.
We actually have gone through these in Judy before this, but
Yes.
so it's not,
They-
we're not
they-
just
They're on the.
throwing
computer.
stuff out here, you know. so-
Right.
Don't worry, I went through it last night.
Okay, yeah.
The only thing, when, on the financial administration budget, the trustee trust fund payroll,
Mhm.
it doesn't divide out right for 3 people. Cause isn't it 600 per person?
No, they just take that and divide it by 3, whatever.
Okay,
we used
let's
to.
put that to 1,800, sure, so then it's a even 600 per person.
So. I'm returning 20,000 of this budget back to the general fund because I could not secure the company to start the electronic filing because they are so far behind from COVID still, when they couldn't get into the offices. So we didn't start that last year. I'm reappropriating it this year.
Okay,
Hopefully we'll get them in. It's gonna be a project Kathy's working on.
that's part of the stuff in the back here? No, that's
No.
shredding.
That is,
Oh, my gosh. I
yeah,
was wondering what it was.
yeah, we have a shred truck coming, Friday, actually. On-site shredding to get rid of some of this stuff. So, what was it?
Oh,
Um,
so that's the only
Oh.
difference.
yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. You will see like some remaining stuff, but all of our heavy like maintenance contracts and stuff, the larger ones hit us at the end of the year, sometimes even in January, the auditors move it back.
Yeah.
That's why you're seeing the balance there. Other than that, our budgets, it's exactly the same other than your wage summary,
Okay,
or your wage.
so, I'll make a motion to accept the financial administration with the wage increase for the trustees.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
I,
Okay,
Yes.
do you want to start on the top one, Cheryl, first, and then I'll go down through?
I have general,
I have legal lines.
yeah, I have general
Oh.
government next.
I have general government. You don't have general government in that pile?
Yes, I do. I'll just move it over. Go ahead.
Okay,
Oh, do I not have, where's my?
We have legal next.
Oh, I have legal, I'm sorry, let's
Yeah.
take, I'm keeping, legal the same,
What did we spend?
21,972.73.
But I think you need that. I agree.
But we seem to utilize.
That's
Okay.
not bad.
Oh, whoops, I need a motion.
Motion to accept the, general government. Budget. At 35,000, do I have a
A
second?
second,
Other than Kevin, aye. Okay,
I will let you start the first line and then I'll go down. Or if
okay,
you don't mind.
so town and buildings, that will increase to 17,605. And then,
So last year we went the middle, remember we thought that they were going to, we had rumors that they were gonna go up like 77%, but we only increased electricity 25%.
Right.
So we talked when we were working
Yeah.
in that town meeting. So what I did was look at what we actually spent, what they're up, what the last few months were with the increase, and then I did 25% on top of that. I brought on, we had a credit last year for the speed sign that we utilized, so I'd bring that back on. And we have the new bridge lights, because we had to separate that from the town garage.
okay.
We added a new service.
so electric should be a little bit higher than 25%, shouldn't it?
Well,
Because electric went up.
Well, I
Because we
went,
put a 25 last
I
year. too.
looked at what we paid the last 2 months, like the highest bill, since it's gone up,
Okay,
then I did that by 12 months.
So it
okay,
should-
So we've already hit the increase in November, October. We haven't paid November and December yet, and then I gave a little cushion,
Right.
and then I went by 12 months. Because the increase hit us in September and October.
right,
It went up,
okay.
so
And we don't see a significant difference
I looked,
electric in the winter than we do.
that was me, I factored in, I went back to last winter, added
Okay.
on, like, I looked at last year, this year, and
Okay.
then projected,
Okay,
and gave us kind of a little buffer, but
yeah,
And the heat expense
Oh my
went down
gosh.
because of the mini splits.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, but then now you're running electric on those moon stores.
Yeah, so you saw a little increase in our electric and I brought down the heating.
Yeah.
You see that? For the town office building.
Okay,
And the other increases is just electricity and stuff like that.
Yeah.
garage electric, that's the old garage, or is that
That's,
the new garage?
I have a couple runs, but, with a new one, I'm not sure what to anticipate with like the heat and stuff down there, so I figured
Do
it
we
can't
have
be
them
any
both
worse.
listed on here? Or you just,
I just have it in one, because I feel that's going away in the,
Well, that's building's closed and drained.
it's closed drain, we won't be using much, and it's going away in the spring.
okay,
So I just figured we could use the same account when we put in the detail, we will put the address into which one you're going to.
okay. Alright. I guess.
Yeah.
Do you have any other questions on that?
No.
No, alright, so I'll make a motion to accept the town buildings budget with the increase in pay. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Cemetery.
So the cemetery, this is, I wanted to talk with you guys, because I have a couple different scenarios here. So our cemetery trustees have been very active, which is great lately, and working in, of course, we have Steve working down there right now. They have requested cemetery maintenance shed, and they figure it will cost about $10,000 of the groundwork. So the cemetery trustees, Mike, Steve, Bill, have gone down and looked, and they'd like to do one of those new pre-made sheds for their equipment and mowers. They feel like with groundwork, they can move it back. They might gain some more sites by doing that down there. They might be able, is their thought. The maintenance shed, they figure with everything will be about $10,000. They have cemetery maintenance capital reserve account. In that, they have $9,890. We don't wanna drain that, but
No,
my thought was
Big five.
take five, that's exactly, that's what I
Yeah.
have. Could we, do you wanna use 5 from the capital reserve and maybe budget 5? I don't know, that was just
yeah,
That's reasonable, I think.
a thought,
so does it make sense, instead of having this as a line item, to actually just put 5,000 into the capital reserve, and then they take it from the capital reserve? When, that way
Absolutely.
there, if it doesn't, God forbid happen, we have it in capital reserve for
that
next
actually makes
year.
sense.
That's a
Yeah,
good idea.
That's actually a good idea, so you wanna move it out of this line.
Yeah, put it as a capital reserve.
Okay, so we can still do the, but we always put that, so we'll do
Yeah.
this to make it a capital reserve to cemetery maintenance.
Yep.
Maintenance, and then add 5,000 to it here. So we'll still keep the bottom for the cemetery, you'll see it in different spots, but this still would be the bottom line, but, oh no, we're gonna go down, so 30,000, 960.
Right, and then the payroll line up
I
top,
think,
but if you have the
Um,
8%,
how much is the 8% when you add it, do you know?
yeah, it's 19,915.
19,900, so what's 18,440 minus? What you just told me,
19, 18, 1475.
I think you're good where you're at. If
Okay.
you look at this, there, see this?
You don't think there'll be an increase in hours for like
Oh.
implementing the shed and all of that?
Oh, you might be right, and plus, Steve came on later on,
He did.
and he's kind of
Until, like,
working
June, July.
really cheap until he figured out how much he could make with social security and retirement,
Right,
and you may have to adjust there too, so.
right. So
Okay,
I would
so-
put it up to the 19,915.
19,915,
Yeah.
okay, so,
So that would be, so we did 35,960 minus $5,000. Plus, what did I just say, 1475, so it's gonna be 32,435.
435?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
So I'll make a motion to accept the cemetery budget at 32,435.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye. Thank you. Insurance.
Insurance is what it is.
Right.
It's going up, everything is going up.
We're lucky, we're
That's
lucky
not
it's
that
only
bad.
$4,000, right?
Yeah.
Ours was 15, so.
Yeah, you're gonna see that across the board when I start bringing in all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just to give you a heads up.
All right, so we need a motion
Any motion?
motion to accept the insurance 4196 in the amount of 50,876.
Second that.
All those in favor? Next up. Advertising regional.
It's just our chamber dues.
Yep, just that. Make the motion to accept that.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This is, are you on contingency?
Yeah.
Sorry. This is our contingency fund. It just is what it is. We have to carry something. It's, outlays, abatements, refunds, all that type of stuff.
And I make a motion to accept that as presented.
I second that. All those in favor? Aye. Next up, we have building inspection.
Same as last year. I don't think you really need to increase. He doesn't,
Okay.
at the end of the year, he'll submit something. It's usually not much.
All right.
Okay,
But just.
so
keep it as
don't increase that.
I don't think you need to.
Alright, so, cross that out.
And unless, something was to happen. The only thing, is if it was to get done.
Yeah.
Okay. So did I have a motion?
No,
Uh,
no, I make the motion to accept that.
I don't know what I was doing.
okay, I'll second
Building
that motion, building inspector. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, next up,
And we're gonna
Emergency
take, no,
management.
that's coming to November 22nd. Can we table that one? It should
yep,
be
we'll table emergency management,
Okay.
back.
alright. So next up, how about the other public safety?
That can go.
Okay,
So you see an increase, that's our dispatching, our phone lines. So fire department runs out of Grafton County with Twin State, so that's our phone lines into them, and that's our quarterly payments. And then police runs out of Lincoln Dispatch, and we have a 3-year contract, I think it is. And it's the first 2 years, I believe, we're 18,000. Within the contract this year is projected to go to 23,000 with an increase of 5,000.
makes sense. So,
Make a motion to accept the budget for the public safety.
okay. A second, all those in favor? Aye. Next up, highways and streets.
This is stayed, Scott probably can speak. We have a couple of different scenarios here that we calculate. Okay, everything is the same until you get down to, so last year we had encumbered money due to COVID and not having people out to do the sidewalks. This is to do the next 300 feet. Last year they did 600 feet because we had 2 years of month encumbered, yeah.
Right.
So this year is to do an additional 300 feet of sidewalk on South Main Street. Highway maintenance, you need to go, that will be depleted with the new shed, so you need to appropriate money back. So we were able to lower all these last year to pretty much minimal
Right.
amounts. These are bringing them back to what they were
2 years ago.
2 years
2 years
ago.
ago. Yep.
So that highway maintenance capital reserve fund is spoken for and will be depleted with the cost of the new shed and the cost of everything. So that's to bring in money to, in case you have a natural disaster.
The new salt shed, we should probably.
Yes,
Right.
the new,
Sand.
so we have to hold that money that's there, and then you need to,
It'll still be pretty low after we finish,
Right.
it will be
So-
low when that's done.
Right.
so we need to do the 50.
And so you need to have something in case you have a natural disaster.
Yep.
The highway heavy duty stays the same. They're
Yep.
still trying to get their other truck, but this keeps us on schedule for the backhoe that's up. It was a 2012, it's up in 2024, and they'll be fully paid for. We don't finance these.
Okay.
So that's still on track. Highway block grant, that's the anticipated revenue coming from the Department of Revenue.
So,
So paving. This is where we can talk what we want to do
Okay.
for the capital reserve. We are sitting with, highway block grant, 198. Plus the 23. I brought in the microphone to use for now, and sorry.
no, we're fine. Oh, it's great. So we have 198.
So if you take the 198 plus 23,000,
Yeah.
we spent out of that $90,100. We are due to, so our next project that they have set is Center Street and School Street and raising the manholes. That will come in roughly 90 to 100,000 on both those sides to do both those projects.
To do both of them,
To do-
200,000 total.
Right, rough, yeah,
Yeah,
that's what the
roughly.
estimates,
Okay. So that would only leave about 30,000
right.
in paving after that capital.
In highway block grant, because you can use it on class 5 roads.
Okay.
So we're talking highway block grant right now.
Oh, okay.
So we did not, we lowered what we were contributing to those to 5,000 last year, and we did a bunch of paving this year.
Right.
So then we spent 23,000 out of the paving account. We had 125,000, which leaves us with 102,000. So you can do, I don't know how much you want to deplete that, like, a lot of the paving, sometimes paving, we have, say, a water main break and we pick up the pavement.
Right,
again.
right.
So my thought was,
You gotta leave
to
30 for
appropriate half of what we were gonna spend and put it back, or you can go down and utilize your highway block grant on those two projects and not appropriate paving. It's a catch-22 as to what you guys would like to do. We are going to add into highway block grant, in 2023. An additional roughly 23,000 to that. So you do have some flexibility here. I just don't know how you wanna.
So we could cut the
I
paving
know.
maybe a little bit.
Well, that's,
Yeah.
my thought is that Mike said that you guys had talked
Yeah.
and, so it's just really, he said it's really like, up
Maybe we could cut that to like 20. What do you think?
to you guys.
And that'll make it a little bit less painful.
Okay.
Is that what you wanna
So
do?
we have 100, after all of these highway grant stuff, we have 132,000. We're gonna expect to get 23,000 again this year, so that would put us at 155. We're thinking we're gonna use 100 of that,
Right.
so that would leave 55 in highway block grant. And then that would give us
And then you
a little
use,
over 100,000, like 125,000 in fee as emergency. Okay.
are you good with
Alright.
that?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
was
hope that's
thinking-
enough, just to pay my parking lot with it.
that's what,
10,000.
well,
That's what I mean.
we have I don't know what, that's the other thing, you don't know what the cost is gonna do. That's
Mike and
where-
Mike and I talked about it. Schools, I mean, Center Street's gonna get done first.
Right, and then
And
if
if we
there's not
run out of
enough,
money, we'll stop. We won't do School Street this year.
that's what he said.
Center Street's way worse.
Okay, so we're gonna move that to 20,000. And do you have numbers for the top of that? one?
Yeah, the top should go to 153,300.
And then moving that to 20. Moving down, so 178, 166 plus the wage increase. Will be your budget.
So I'd make a motion to accept the highway street
Oh, wait a minute. that's-
budget with the increase in payroll, the decrease of 20,000 in capital reserve paving.
Okay,
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in
I
favor?
agree about it.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
okay.
All right.
Streetlights, gotta be.
Streetlights are streetlights. I make a motion.
I did it,
How, right, so how would streetlights, just a question, I've had, and it's not necessarily to the budget, but to have additional streetlights placed in, is that something that we request to the electric company or whoever owns the pole?
You can,
Yeah.
but they also have the right, like they came in and took a
They don't
bunch of
have to
cars
do
out.
it. They don't have to do it.
We had a ton more like down by Jack Linton going up to Lincoln and they took the lights down.
Yeah,
So I don't know.
even on the like side streets, like Paradise
All you
or.
could do is ask.
We can ask.
They have, I think they have the control, but we can ask.
Okay, I slept in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think so. It doesn't hurt to ask.
Get down here, Mike and I.
Yeah, talk to
I've got
Mike
good
because
contacts down there.
he deals a lot with Bill Johnstone, I
Yeah,
think his
Bill.
name is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he might know the answer to that.
Alright, I just noticed walking Paradise during Halloween. That
There's
is
that-
for that many kids on that street, that's a lot of lights missing.
Yes, and we've had that request before, actually, for
Okay.
Paradise.
Oh, let's
So,
do it. Let's
so
do it.
let's maybe
Yeah.
look into doing that,
Yeah, I'll do that with Mike.
great.
Are you looking like the strip between the yellow house, like Cheeseburro's, that strip right there?
Yeah, that strip,
And then,
and then probably a little bit further up.
by, like-
By Woods and Bobby George's,
Yeah.
mhm.
and then there's up by Oaks. I think there was one, that like corner was kind of. But yeah, there's a lot of kids up on that road now, so.
Mhm.
No, that wasn't.
You could use a speed sign up there too, if you really
Okay.
wanna get
Alright, like the
Anyway.
one that's the solar one,
something,
isn't
that-
there grants for that kind of stuff?
I don't know, but
We'll look.
something needs to
Yeah.
happen. Those kids are just, they play a lot, which is great, but
Yeah.
they're flying.
Like back in the day, it's great.
All
Alright, did we,
Excuse me 1 minute. Scott, your light is on your iPad. It's
Oh, gee.
flashing this way and.
Sorry.
blinding you guys for an hour?
And it kept blowing my eye.
It's a good trick, you know, it's just a calm
Feel like I've
crowd,
been
you know.
interrogated.
That's right. No problem.
Thank you, Jerry. Alright, so we have, motion on the floor to accept the streetlights. I second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Alright, So next up is Parks and Recreation. That's our parks, not,
Yes, I don't have any of
Okay.
those budgets yet.
okay, I didn't think so, but
When do we get the Lincoln?
probably won't get them to the middle of December.
Those will
probably.
be the last ones we probably will see.
Yeah.
And I, I'll get them right before your joint meeting sometime.
I'm sure
Probably
the day
January.
before, come on.
Right, so. All right, so on this one, that payroll line should go to 30,165. And the rest of it stays the same,
Mhm.
so. So I make a motion to accept the Parks and Recreation budget with the increase in payroll.
I'll start with that.
All those in favor? Aye. Next up, we have library.
She's pretty much staying the same, other than,
Payroll.
the material and the expenses and, oh, sorry, Cheryl, your payroll.
Thanks, Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Have a good one. That should go to 65,900.
And that, she's just anticipating cost increase like everybody else, which is very minimal. I think she went up $250 on material and $150 on operating. So
Yeah, they're minimal.
Yeah,
minimal.
it's minimal. Great. So I make a motion to accept the library budget with the increase in payroll.
I'll
Do I have a
second that.
Alright, all those in favor? Next up.
Patriotic purposes.
Patriotic purposes. I don't, so as you'll see, the
Increase in
Um,
fireworks.
increase in fireworks, we didn't get Woodstock Winter Festival back with all of our schedules, but we are really shooting. We want to get the committee back together and we really want to
Do it
push
next
to
year, yeah.
have it come back next year. We're gonna have, we have members on Main Street. Ellie just didn't have the time this year. She's got stuff going on, get Kim from the chamber involved.
Okay.
And it'd be nice to bring it back.
Yeah, I agree.
Friends of Rec met yesterday, and we're working on doing bigger lights, like the daycare center used to do the lights and the judging and all that. And they're just not equipped to do it anymore, so we're trying to find a way how we can absorb that and kind of make it a little bit bigger and do
Maybe,
a week long. Like
and maybe next year we can incorporate it when we
with winter
normally
fest.
have winter.
The idea
fest.
was to do that this year, but yeah.
Yeah,
next
we just-
year.
I don't think we have time to
Yeah.
roll with any of it. right now. And we have some different businesses, I mean, we have to.
Yeah,
see how-
reintroduced and.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
I talked with Ellie and.
I think we can make it work for sure.
Okay, so. Make a motion to accept the patriotic purposes.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Are you on conservation next?
We are.
Okay. The conservation has requested, they would like to send, an additional child to camp, which is great.
Excellent.
They haven't been able to the last couple of years because of COVID,
Mhm.
and I think they have interest. So they've asked to increase $400 to send an additional or camp sponsor.
Okay, that's great. And then all of their legal stuff is absorbed by the town, so total legal budget, okay. Very good,
Make a motion, we accept the conservation commission.
perfect, I
Budget.
second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
This is the common flowers, the buckets, the trees, the wreaths, everything else, our cost is going up as well, so
I think it's pretty reasonable.
did a great job.
I think we should try to update the banners this year too,
Good idea.
on the poles.
Oh, we need money for that.
We do.
It's time probably.
It is. We can't absorb that in the selectmen, budget, no.
I don't know that.
Don't we have
All
the
right, well,
I mean,
downtown improvement budget, right?
Oh, you have Main Street revitalization, capital
Okay.
reserve,
There we
actually.
go.
Hold on, let's look at that. Oh, you have $30,000 in the Main Street
okay, we can
revitalization.
take it from that.
We'll take it from that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's only gonna be $1,000 probably.
Yeah,
Right.
Okay. I think that should be on our bucket list.
Good idea. I move we take the economic development, vote for that, I don't know why it's flowers, but. It's $3,000 is our economic development budget
Right,
for flowers.
right, I'll second that. All those in favor? Aye.
Okay,
Water. Oh, I didn't get this far, because I left power.
so,
I've looked at it.
yeah,
I think you go to
So
the
I'll-
water payroll.
yeah, the water payroll has
Did you
been.
increase the
And I just wanna,
electricity?
I didn't, because I'm gonna tell you why, and then we
Okay.
can go from there and discuss. I wanted to.
Sure.
So. The first thing here is Mike has no projects on this side, for this year, I think it's on the sewer side, he told me. What was that? Oh, I just want to be clear because I know there's been some questions lately about, so we were talking about this on the water payroll and why we have a water payroll and why we have a sewer payroll and why time gets charged to that from our guys when we have other
Right.
people out there running it. And I think the key that everybody needs to remember is that every time the guys get called for a curb stop or that they're mowing the sewer treatment plant or they're mowing the well houses or they're doing any type of maintenance or they get a call to go out for something. We have to have a factor, you know, it's not. We do the best we can, but they do get charged and anytime they go out to do a hydrant or they shovel a hydrant, you know what I mean? So we do the best we can to budget, and so we charge off a portion of their payroll goes to water and sewer every. But, it's not just operating the guys do other stuff that's related to these departments. So they have to charge some stuff off to those departments,
Makes sense.
so I just wanted to be clear about that, you know, they take phone calls all day related to water or sewer or whatever, so. We come as close as we can, the best we can, they get called in when the pump station's clogged and that's all overtime or.
Okay.
Water main repairs or, you know, stuff like that.
Right.
So they could be having 20 hours one week and 2 hours the next, but it all evens out in the end.
Right.
Unless we're gonna have them carry around a notebook and they're gonna spend more
It's a
time doing
challenge,
time
it's a
watching.
yeah,
challenge.
they'll spend more time doing that than they will.
No, it makes sense.
So
Over the
I just
course of the
wanted to
year,
be,
it balances.
it all balances out, but they do more things than what.
Yeah.
What even probably they recognize that they're doing that's related to those things, so
And this budget.
I just wanted to be clear.
This is pretty conservative, would even be that's
Our water capital reserve is,
healthy.
no, it's not.
Well, if you count the excess funds.
Oh, this is where I wanted to talk to you about. So capital reserves are different than unassigned
Right, I
fund
know that,
balance.
yeah.
So
Right.
capital reserve is really, really low.
Right.
And a lot of it's been spent between doing our water study, which we'll be paying out, which we gotta talk about the ARPA funds and who's gonna use what where.
Mhm.
But also down on Laura Street. Yeah, I know, I like that, like. So
Water Street's gonna take 60 or 70.
we've already spent quite a bit of money there, on that.
And the wells are gonna, well, that was expense last year. It's
Right,
gonna
we
be
brought it-
expensed in this year.
Right, we brought in unassigned fund balance for that, which is different. So,
Judy and I were talking about transferring
My
some
God.
of the other, unused fund balance that the water department has in the general fund to the capital reserve.
I was just gonna ask, can we legally do that?
well,
Yes.
we can, yes.
Okay.
And so my thought is that if we appropriated about
Yes,
what we
well-
did last year, which is the 120,000, keep it consistent. And what if you guys did a warrant article to bring in another 100,000 from the
Laura
unassigned
said,
fund?
they said we did not need to have a warrant
You
article.
don't need to. You don't,
It's
you would,
transparent.
you as a
Well, I
board.
mean, it's no problem, we can.
That's how we did it last year when we brought in the unassigned fund balance to do the flow meters.
Right.
It's entirely up to you. You guys can. The auditor said
The auditor said we could,
you could do, you guys
us
could
as
vote
select
when it
board,
comes
we
to
could
water and
transfer.
sewer. You guys can vote as a board to bring in money from the unassigned fund balance. You cannot do that with the general fund.
right,
So, but last year, we let the people vote, for the BFDs.
BFDs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's totally up to you guys, but it might be good to bring in, to appropriate the 120,000, keep it consistent, and then to flatline the budget and then bring in 100,000 from the unassigned fund balance, however you choose to do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you tell me.
I'm all right, bringing it to town meeting.
I don't mind doing that either, that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Town meeting only keeps it open.
yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Makes people
It's no
happy.
big deal.
Right.
Yep,
So, the numbers for me on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to
Um,
increase them,
So the town share, I figure if we roll up 8%, that should go up 8%.
Yeah.
it just covers if you have major
Right.
Yeah.
water,
So the town share of social security, Medicare and WH is 4,000, that should go to 4,000.
okay?
And then the payroll should go to 52,280. Okay.
And then I'm gonna make a note for a warrant article, and we'll
Right.
bring in 100,000. I mean, you good with 100,000?
Yeah, let's do that for this year.
Because
And
we
then
can
if
always do it
find-
every year, and
we
then,
can-
right.
Right,
and you always, if you guys find you're in an emergency situation, can call even a public hearing to do that.
Right.
right.
Warrant article 100,000 unassigned
and I think when you're going for the grants, you
fund
know,
balance.
Steve, the grant said sometimes the poorer you look, the more grant money you can get. So, you know,
Well, we'll take that.
so maybe don't overfund it. No, I think we
Right.
should do the
Right.
100, but
Right,
Yeah.
and I'm just thinking, because we don't know. We still don't know where Moore Street's going, these poor people,
Right.
and that, you know, we gotta revisit that sometime, you guys, anyways.
Okay.
What's
So the
your
only thing that affected this budget would be the increase in wages.
Oh,
Right.
Scott wanted to talk about electricity.
electricity, yeah.
Yeah,
So right now, we're sitting at 27,206.93, so I went back, looked at, because we're gonna, the wells are running less.
That's
So
right, that's right.
You're gonna have that, so Mike said that they're running
Half
half
less
of
than
what
that.
they used to, so he doesn't think that,
I agree.
and he looked
Yeah.
at what the ice castles we used last year, and then I looked at, so he thinks we might be good where we're at,
okay.
We've managed to patch up all the leaks, we think.
well,
So
yeah,
the walls are running, sometimes they don't run for a whole day. You know, so it's
That's
really been great, so.
Okay. Anything else on that, Scott?
No,
Alright. So, I'll make a motion to accept the water budget with the increases in the payroll. Do I have a second?
second,
All those in favor?
okay. Um. So. I'll wait for you to do,
Yeah, so the first one's gonna go to 2506.
mhm.
The second one is gonna go to 32,750.
Okay,
I think the only difference here is the increase in payroll and the capital reserve rate. I thought we were gonna
well,
raise that.
no, Mike had, you guys have the sewer roof,
Oh, yeah, yes, okay,
they need a new sewer roof, they're estimating 40,000, 40,000 to do that.
we don't have enough in the capital reserve.
You
No, you
No.
can't take the capital reserve, because we're gonna need that.
No, we don't
can't-
have any, we don't have enough
And-
money in that anyway.
You don't have,
So-
you can't touch the capital reserve because it's spoken for, and you don't have any unassigned fund balances.
I know that.
Right.
So,
So, I mean, even the sewer at 50,000 for the capital reserve, I don't even know if that's where you're comfortable. I put it there because that's what we did last year.
I think we,
What's in the capital reserve right now for sewer?
right now, the
Sewer is 157,
And
and
that doesn't include the 50 that we're putting in this year,
no, that, what do you mean for 2023 or 2022?
2022.
That includes that.
how much is it?
Includes that. We
How much
only
is
have
it?
157.
Yeah, so that's
And
where,
this will add 50 more, so it'll be 200.
right, but you're gonna exhaust that.
Right.
Right, so this is where I'm getting nervous because you have nothing
If we do the pump station.
if the pump station
Can we
and
go another year without doing the pump
No,
station?
because we have a grant.
We have a grant.
then, yeah, the Northern Border
We
Grant.
have the Northern Borders grant.
And you don't know, you don't have secure funding from,
No, we aren't going to probably.
you're not going to on one of the projects I know of.
Right.
So,
So question there, when we get tap fees, can those tap fees go into, it would go into sewer, but can we allocate that back to capital reserves?
I mean, our head, we can, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can, you know, so.
Well, I believe, and I will find out, that you can have a capital reserves, I mean, a warrant article to maybe do that.
Okay.
With sewer, it might be a struggle because you have a deficit. And so really, you should you should use that
To cover it.
to start taking care of that deficit.
Yeah.
I think we've got.
So that would be my only caution to you.
The only thing with the northern borders is with ARPA funds, we can only have 80% of the project paid for with federal funds. So we already got 50% of it from northern borders, so we can only use 30% of the cost of the project with ARPA funds, so we're gonna have to use a little bit of capital reserve.
Oh, so how much
Until we
capital
can-
reserve?
I
we
have to run
Probably
the
70 or
exact
80
number.
thousand.
Possibly.
Well, then it'd still leave us over 100. And we do it,
Can we table this budget?
yeah, I think we need to suggest.
All right,
Okay,
why don't we
well,
bring
make
it back
sure-
on 11/22?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we
then
have
we can
no-
run some numbers and make sure,
Because right now the budget,
That's why I wanted to get these two, because
yeah,
these,
this
the
one,
water and
yeah.
sewer are just.
I think the revenue will support the 40,000 extra. And the capital reserve,
Well, see,
just,
well, then you gotta look at, you have so the revenue coming in right now, what do you mean for like, I'm looking at two different revenues. You're talking about the tap, what we're billing out for tax.
tap fees and.
Tap fees come in differently. They come in through a general fund. And that general fund, so it's revenue coming into to offset your budget, but if you have a deficit sitting here, you know, like how you have that.
Right, I know what you're
unassigned-
saying, yes,
You
yeah.
gotta start taking care of that. So I think,
So the tap fees are gonna go towards that.
Yeah.
I think
I
you
would
should,
suspect
but
that's how it would work, yeah.
All right, then this is gonna be very tight to have that. We'll have
Yeah,
to,
let's.
we gotta
run some
look
more
at
numbers
it.
on this one.
It's good to break even or not, without
So-
increasing rates.
let's bring this back on 11/22 to our workshop.
We gotta spend some, we'll spend some time.
Yeah, this one's not going before the budget for, this is why I wanted to,
Yeah.
have his. So
Yeah.
11/22 will
And I'll
revisit
run some
sewer.
numbers for NCC.
Scott's gonna wanna sit and run numbers.
We'll have a bonding session on this.
I love those.
I know. This needs some work,
Okay, so
All right.
sewer is
Sewer is
tabled.
tabled.
All right, that makes sense.
because I hate to increase the rate.
Well, we may be able to do this without.
Well,
I think we
we're gonna-
can, but it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be
Yeah,
tight.
we'll look.
All
I
right,
mean,
that's
you
it.
can look at it many different ways. And why don't I, I'll call and talk to the Department of Revenue, the auditors, and just get a feel for how they feel about
Have to-
the tap fees, and the deficit and that type of thing.
Sure,
Just to make sure we're thinking it
properly,
through.
yeah,
I don't want to do anything that's
no,
not okay.
All right. Next up, we have the contract from Horizons Engineering on the wastewater asset management grant. Is this another grant that?
yes, this is a contract for money that we've already got,
Thank you. When you're on your
Okay.
grant.
that we just have to sign the contract for it.
Yes.
We had
so
a work
we-
session yesterday.
We had a work session yesterday with Horizons, New Hampshire DES, Mike, Kathy from Welch's. It was our startup meeting.
And this is to do a capital improvement plan for the wastewater system, which is being funded by a grant.
Well, I just need a motion to accept and Scott to sign, if you guys are good with it.
Okay, how much is the grant for? Do we know?
30,000.
30,000 on this one.
Okay,
The next one's 90.
okay. Great.
That's for the water. It's 90.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to accept the Horizons contract and have Scott sign it. Do I have a second?
Second,
Okay, all those in favor?
and I signed both of myself.
So then up next, the intermunicipal prosecution agreement came through. I meant to text you this morning. It came through. Of the Horizons contract again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Do you have it right there?
It is, and it's,
It's the same, right?
It's exactly the same. Nothing has changed. It's between,
Campton,
It's-
Lincoln, Woodstock.
yes,
Yeah.
everything is the same.
All right,
I'm sorry, I must have
that's okay.
tried to fix it
I
too.
remember you saying that. So
And I have no phone for you guys to get to.
that's right.
That's a nice day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I had, it's probably a big yellow my file from town hall.
Yeah.
My phone died.
Yeah.
And you.
You never realize how reliant
And then I had Scott, so
you are on cell phones when they come out.
yeah, I'm like, everything's in
So
there.
just to remind folks, anybody in the room and anybody that listens, that the fire department, the Woodstock Fire Department has their annual fundraiser not this weekend, next Saturday, November 26th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Soldiers Park Common. I've seen some previews of those meetings, and they're beautiful.
They always
Yeah,
are.
Annie doesn't, yeah, she does a nice job laying out the designs and stuff, so. Whatever you guys, whoever needs one, they do a nice job, so.
And they do pre-orders.
And they do pre-orders, yes, so. Yeah, we did that for the others, so, all right. Anything else under other business?
No.
No, okay, anything under public participation? Yes, Bill,
Just a couple of thoughts on what you went over on.
I see you, Mike, yep,
Go ahead, Mike.
no, go ahead.
If a head is going to be moving forward, I'm not sure if anybody knows that, but would that involve more time of the building inspector?
I think we depend on the state for a lot of that,
Right.
yeah,
Just
because we're not really qualified to,
okay.
you know, that'll be part of the deal, I think, they'll have to use state, you know, have the state fire marshal, all that stuff. We don't have the our qualifications to do that.
And on that again, since you're going for street lighting, would it be from downtown, from Center Street out to where Peeling Village is going to be? Now, if there are going to be youngsters there and people walking from town
Good
to,
point.
that's a dark section.
Where is that again?
If Peeling
112,
Oh,
comes through,
yeah, we'll certainly look at that as soon
I
as
think
when
it's a
that
great point.
comes to, yep,
I think maybe someday sidewalk.
mutations, yes. Very good.
And one other question.
Sure.
As far as my going further with the Johnson Road or Mountainside Road, at the end of the last meeting, I thought Gil mentioned that was a class 6 road that he's been plowing for a number of years. Has that been, is there a document that shows that was, or should I keep digging? And I don't expect, Gil isn't here, so we can't ask, but at least get it on.
Get it on.
As a thought.
Sure.
Okay.
It was vacillating between class 6 and private road.
We will look into that. Very good, thank you. All right, Mike, go ahead.
Yes,
morning.
good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Sure
Yeah.
can.
Okay, thank you. I just had a question. When do you anticipate the sale of the old Public Works building? Now that you were talking about the fire station today,
April, May.
is there a reason that you can't do it combined with this one? And, I understand, well, maybe I'm assuming wrong, but I'm assuming you're holding off because of the salt shed issue. Can't you just make that a condition of the sale?
I guess we
And-
could, but we talked about it, we thought we were rushing it too much, Mike, I think. We thought it was not gonna make a huge difference for 2 or 3 months, and then take a little more time to get some bids and look at the salt shed issue a little more closely, so we can, make sure we're doing the right thing, because a lot of things came in at the last minute. And so we just thought it was better to put on hold, research it more for a couple
Yeah,
months.
Yeah, I understand, but why not go through with the sale with the condition that you get the use of it until, springtime? You heard your auctioneer say today that, kind of pushing.
No, you can rush it though,
Yeah,
because it doesn't cost us, it's not costing us anything with JSJ. As
No,
far
but
as,
like he made the point, the interest rates are rising, it could go to 10, that's gonna affect the sale prices. We know we're gonna sell it, at least that's what we were all told, you're definitely gonna sell it. Why not move forward with it? Scott?
it's not a bad thought. I will actually call Jay there and see what he says, you know.
You know,
The building's empty.
the water's
Well-
not shut off.
The shut off. It's not really costing us anything, but I agree the market might go down more.
well, it is, you say it isn't, but our intention is move forward, combine the sale and do it, get it moving with the condition, that's just like any other sale, you have conditions, and condition is the town gets the use of it until April or whatever.
Well,
You
I think
mentioned
that's a
that
good-
it's,
That's
it just, go ahead.
Yep. We
I
got it.
think, no,
We got
Mike,
it.
I think it's a great
We got
thought, and we'll go down that road. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, you mentioned that it's all closed and drained and whatever. I guess I don't want to go down that road, and that's fine. You mentioned that you had a workshop yesterday on a wastewater. Was that posted anywhere? Wasn't
It
it?
had to be. I wasn't, neither Gil or I were involved in that. It was just Mike, Horizons, and Scott and Judy.
But
Okay.
it's not-
Well, I
divided
just, when are you gonna have your kickoff meeting for the access management grant for the water? I've been waiting for that to happen. You told me that was gonna happen, Scott.
Well, what happened was the DES said that paperwork wasn't proper. Judy had sent it in twice. So we
Yeah.
had to send it back with them yesterday with Eliza from the DES. And so I would think, so the kickoff for the wastewater was yesterday.
Okay,
And then the next one is the public hearing. But now, public
Well,
participation.
There's two, Mike, they're gonna have this kickoff to present this, but then they have to come to a selectmen's meeting, they said, and that's when they'll have the information out.
And Mike, when we do the water,
It was March 7th, I think.
I'm happy to invite you to that, when they, when
Now
I
you
meet
say-
with them again.
okay. Now you say the state said twice the paperwork. So did we receive the grant or not?
Yes,
For the
Yes.
70, okay, so we did get that, so,
They
Yes.
had it, they didn't, they said they didn't get the original.
they said they didn't have the originals.
They only had scanned
We were
copies
supposed to do both of them yesterday, and at
9 o'clock.
when we were having the meeting at 10 o'clock, he calls and says that you didn't have the originals.
okay,
We couldn't
so,
have another one.
okay, so on the water side of it, the kickoff meeting has not been scheduled yet, because in the application for the grant, it says that they're gonna have a kickoff meeting and the public will be invited to that, so that hasn't been scheduled yet.
Well, so they have a meeting with everybody here, and then they told us they come, like this one that we just did, Mike, they're coming to
Yeah.
a selectmen's meeting on March 7th as
Yeah,
a public to everybody.
okay, March 7th,
For the one we just did, but
Yeah.
then, so then.
that's wastewater though, right?
30,000 for wastewater.
Right. and
Yes.
then
Right,
there's-
I'm talking potable
Right.
water.
Right.
Yep.
But they're gonna come and meet with us again on the one you're talking about, and then they'll
Yeah.
come to a selectmen's meeting for the public
For the public hearing.
to do the same
Okay.
thing.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to see if I missed it or something, and
No, they're
No.
coming back to a selectmen's meeting.
Basically, all we did yesterday, and all they'll do at the next quick meeting is that they just go over what the scope of the work is,
Okay.
and-
Yep.
And then they have a public hearing, they come up with a report, and then the public's invited, and their whole thing is making all the shareholders take part in the whole process.
Right,
right,
Make sure all the people that are on the water system there and the sewer system there, to make sure there's a lot of public input. That's a lot of what they're trying to do.
it won't be hosted as a public hearing, it will be hosted as a selectmen's meeting agenda item, so that's when it will
Yep.
go out.
Okay.
Just to be clear,
When, is there any anticipation of when they'll actually start working on this? I mean, if they're not even having the kickoff meeting until March.
They're starting on it now. That what they're doing now, Mike, is they're doing a lot of the mapping, all that type of thing now.
to bring you
Okay.
the date.
And then they're
Okay.
putting data together now between now and March. And in March is when they bring the facts out and everybody has a chance to look at what they've come up with.
Okay, all right,
I'm hoping
thank,
we'll do the water and the sewer at the same time. But there was just this little glitch here with the paperwork. And I'm hoping in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we might be able to have a meeting with the, to get that going. So I'm hoping
Okay.
we'll be able to hold that meeting in March,
Right.
is what I'm hoping. So,
okay, thank you. I just have one more question. Bill brought up deeding and stuff. And it brought back, several months ago, you had talked about Lilac Street, the property on Lilac Street. What is the status on that property that you were giving the owners a chance to rectify their
We deeded it.
payment to?
No, we deeded it,
that,
and we
Mike.
haven't gone further with posting it as for
We just gotta
sale.
get to the other process.
So it's gonna, you believe it's gonna go to a deed sale then?
We did deed it to the town and then they just.
Yeah.
Once we get through all this other stuff, we need to decide whether we're gonna auction it or put it out for sale or however they're gonna go with it.
Okay, no, I was just curious on that. Thank you.
I just haven't had a chance to get back to it, honestly.
All right, no, I was just curious what happened.
I don't know,
I don't,
we'll talk with JJ.
yeah, we can
Yeah.
ask them and
Yeah.
maybe they can help us. I just haven't had a chance to
Sure.
revisit it.
I'm
with
just,
all the other research we've been doing.
but Mike, I don't think that's a bad idea, seeing what their thoughts are, selling with a contingency.
Yeah.
The town.
Maybe you can add, we can talk to them about
Adding that
Lilac
and that.
Street, the Public Works, and that maybe they can help us just
I'll give a
get
call.
through.
Get through it.
Well, and you may be able to save a little bit of money, on their fees where they're, advertising all at once. Not
Mhm.
three different times, and not that it's a huge amount of money, but it's money.
Right, money's money.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
No, I think that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
I just had I think I had a reminder for myself. Can I just ask you guys about this floodplain ordinance? The last time it was brought forth to the town when we had to amend it was done through the planning board. And I guess I'm not sure where it lies. I have this email and she's pretty much from Katie Nelson.
Yeah, now what,
I know
What?
we're working on the mapping part of it and we've been watching that stuff, but then I got a call from Bonnie. And questioning whether the selectmen were bringing it or the planning board was bringing it forward and. So I looked it over yesterday and it appears like she's marked up what needs to be done. I just need to know if this is a planning board action or a selectmen's action, like.
I can't tell, I know the shoreline ended up being selectmen's, which needs to be tweaked.
So I
But
guess I
we
can
voted
check.
a few town meetings ago to mirror the state's model ordinance.
Right, and that's what we kind of did here
Right.
way back and. Bonnie thinks it goes or feels like it goes hand in hand with the subdivision regulations and maybe should be brought.
I
I'm
don't
happy,
know.
it doesn't look like it's a lot, I mean, I'm happy I can have Kathy work with me on it.
Yeah.
If it's something you want me to, but it needs to be a warrant article for 2023 or should be for 2023, so. Do you want
Let's
me to
work,
work on it?
why don't you and Kathy work on
And
it,
then-
and then if it needs to go through the planning board, they'll have the most current version from you guys,
Yeah, that's a good.
and
idea.
then on to
And why
us.
don't we ask, our friend, who is responsible for that, I guess? Because I always
I
thought the
think-
planning board was in charge of shoreline,
Do you
but
want
then I
to
was
ask
told I was
North
wrong.
Country Council, because I have a call with them,
North Country Council,
do
good.
you want to ask them?
If you
Yeah.
have a call with them today, that'd be great, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
mind, it looks like it's pretty
They will finalize.
pretty boilerplate and she's done a lot of the work for us, so.
That's what you did with Shoreline too.
Yeah, I mean, all right, so why don't I do that and get it ready for you guys? And I think we have to have a public hearing on this.
And the Shoreline, I think we do too, but what, you know, once we finalize
I haven't
that.
seen, where's the shoreline? That's just the first I'm hearing of that.
No, that's a selectmen's issue to update the Shoreline Protection Act.
Okay, where is that at? Have we started that?
No, I have to start it. You and I have to start. So,
Okay, so shoreline 2, is that for 2023?
yeah, but that, according, from what I remember, as long as we follow the model ordinance from the state, that's what the town voted for.
Find a model from the state.
And all we have to do is really take that and change locations and names. And
To
things like
address,
that.
yeah, to address that.
Okay,
And it is more strict than it used to be.
all right, so I'll be looking for shoreline and we'll get working on the floodplain because
And whether we vote
you
for
need
it, whether
public
we,
hearings.
whether we decide to adopt it or not, the state has adopted it, so we have to follow it no matter whether we do it or
Well, I
not.
think it's that's kind of the same thing here,
Right,
Right.
so.
Okay.
I just need to find out where the warrant articles are and stuff for that. Did you get emails for that?
Yeah.
Okay, all right,
you don't need, again, I think you need a warrant article for that, because you have to vote to participate in that, to be part of the floodplain insurance program.
right, because we've been watching what
And
the
if you don't
discovery.
adopt
was.
those, then the people in the floodplain cannot get flood insurance.
Right, and that's why we have to, they're in the discovery stages of redoing their mapping. That's what it is, I mean,
Yeah.
all right,
Okay.
that's, I guess, my only question.
Your email this morning came through with, so 9 AM, Tuesday, the 22nd for the budget workshop.
Yes, and that's to, because there's a couple that I can't, I just,
Right.
We'll
they
do the
need to
wastewater
speak,
matter.
you know, with the other
Yeah,
departments,
I just
Scott and
wanted
I
to
are
make sure
very
it was-
involved
It
with.
was 9 AM and not an after.
Yes, and they've all confirmed except for Dave, and I asked Dave to send a representative if he couldn't be here.
Okay,
Because I told him that you would want to meet with him before the budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I have those departments set to go tentatively before the budget committee on the 30th, so I really kind of,
need to
them
get it
too.
done.
Okay,
and there's stuff I just can't, that they have going on, I can't explain, so.
great. All right, anything else?
No.
No, great. Thank you all for starting the morning. Yeah.
Have a motion?
Motion second at 10:47 AM.
I got to Zoom at 10:30.
You're a little late.
I know.
That budget workshop, is that open?
Yeah,
It's open to public, but not public comments.
What day is that?
The 22nd at 9 AM,
November or December?
Next
November.
week, next Tuesday.
Well,
All right.
just in time.
We
right?
thought, oh,